Hey everyone, no respawns here. Hope you're having a grand week. So obviously this has been an exciting and continues to be a very good week for game-related news and especially Starfield. Given the focus of the channel, obviously I needed to do a dive video into the actual Outpost building. I debated how I wanted to present this, but to be honest, because the building section of the trailer is only 2 minutes, I just thought it was easier just to actually screen record the video and actually talk over it. So it allows me to pause and kind of highlight and address stuff. Yes, I could do some fancy editing, but I'm way too lazy, and also this is way more practical. So first and foremost, we get about 2 minutes of building. There's a lot more there than you might initially realize, and I have watched it a few times to kind of see if there's anything I've missed. So far, the kind of taking is there built. It's like a combination of Fallout 76's building. That's not necessarily a bad thing, and the fact is you can build anywhere, but as you'll see in a second, you do have a build limit and also a kind of a building area that you're limited to, which makes sense. But my hope is that there's going to be a lot of learnings and things that we loved from Fallout 4 that are kind of brought over. The good thing, and I'm going to mention this now, is we are apparently going to get full mod support, and once that drops, it probably won't drop on release. I believe for Fallout 4 it dropped a few months afterwards, but once that's dropped, as this is a single player game, any holes that we have within the building function I plan to kind of fill myself. I'm going to make building, just the record, building mods rather, a big part of what I do when Starfield releases. Not just kind of complete building, which I hope I can do, but also giving you hopefully reskinned versions of pre-existing assets. So let's just jump in. So first and foremost, he does a little thing. As you can see right here, those who have played Fallout 76 will be familiar with the camp module. This is the camp module for Fallout 76. So you just place it anywhere. One thing I will note is that it does appear to be on a foundation, which I do like because the fact the Fallout 76 building module did have a habit of looking a bit weird unless it wasn't placed on flat ground. If you've built enough in Fallout games, will you be familiar with the mechanics of how foundations work? I noticed that was sinking in a little bit just from rotating it on the spot, so I imagine you can raise that up and down a fair bit, but probably not raise it down too much. So first off the bat, we can see, so we've got the build area there. It does look to be quite large. You know, if I had to guess already, this looks about twice the size of what we would get in Fallout 76, which, to be honest, is a good camp size. But I might be wrong, because that might be further away than it looks. It's kind of hard to gauge with the size of the rocks, but ostensibly, I'm thinking about double the size. As you can see here, there is a build limit. That was in Fallout 4 as well, and with Fallout 76. It felt a little bit more restrictive in Fallout 76, so I am curious. There is a little bit later in the... It's only about 2 minutes. It's literally yeah, like... What? It's like a minute. A minute of building, but it is what it is. So I'm curious to see how that fills up, so I'm going to pay attention to that. There's cargo, crew, power needed, and total power, as well as production. What I like is, for Fallout 4, and to be fair, Fallout 76, there is a big argument that camps don't really have much use. In Fallout 4, they were more narrative, and there was a lot of roleplay involved. With Starfield, at least, I do like the fact that there at least is motivation to build them purely, if anything, for production. It depends what kind of production, as well as putting down crafting stations, which is actually the next section just before the combat. I am really curious, because there's actually a crew, how they can interact with it. So let's just pop on. So as you can see, it's looking very good. So these are the modules. Now, first thing, and it will be going through quite a bit on this is very modular. Obviously, this is set in space. If you've ever played... I'll just play it when I'm talking. If you've ever played Subnautica, this seems to look very, very similar to Subnautica, as you can see right here. So that's actually one of your existing companions, and I don't know if that's one of the kind of named companions or a kind of... I believe you can recruit kind of, I guess, randomly generated crew, and I'm curious as to whether one of those... I do like this feature a lot, just generally, because it gives the idea of kind of giving your... kind of player outposts a bit more life. One of my biggest bugbears of Fallout 4, I'll just play it while I'm talking, of Fallout 4 was there weren't many named characters you can pick up. There were a few, but not many. By the looks of this, I can actually encounter people more people throughout the game and actually recruit them. There was the scene about a guy who had crash landed on a planet, and you could kind of recruit him to your team. And by the looks of it, outside of the kind of the normal companions, there seems to be a lot more. So this right here seems to be a big part. The actual resource generating side. So we've got these two. There we go. So this is very curious. What happens when you place this? So there we go. That's how much this has contributed to that. Staircase, entranceway. So to be honest, structure-wise, that's not too bad at all. It's still quite a bit, but then I guess once you've placed a few of these round, I mean, what? That's one, two, three, 4 pieces. So if I were to double that or triple that, I'm going to be, what, to about there? So maybe a 6th. So that's quite impressive. So this section, anyway, is the one I want to look out for a bit. So first and foremost, we have a structures tab. And annoyingly, they do not, almost like it's deliberate, they don't show us any other tabs, and it is mildly infuriating. So one thing that bothers me as well, if we just go back, you see this, the foundation is too tall. So that means we are going to have some issues with placing structures on particularly steep land. So clearly these foundations have a potential limit to their height, which can be a little bit frustrating. There's a thing in Fallout 76, whenever you build, you can often have it where it'll just to say, no, can't place because items floating. I'm hoping they've taken some of the learnings from that. But there are restrictions. There isn't the same level as freedom that maybe we would have in Fallout 4. I am curious in terms of glitching what we can do. So you can see right there. So it's placed it now. There we go. So that one had to move it to a different section because that one, they can't place it. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the modular element of this because I can decorate the insides. You know, it'll be like decorating a shelter in Fallout 76. However, I like making things interesting and scrappy from the outside. I will note for the entirety of this showcase of the Outpost building, there is 0 outside decoration outside of things which seem to have a use. So there's no, as you'll see, I mean, there's obviously the decoration inside. Absolutely adore the robots, incidentally. As you can see, there are stands for your armor. There are stands that look like model spaceships. I do appreciate there are quite a lot of crates. For those who don't know, I'm a big fan of just letting me put crates everywhere. If in doubt, put crates. There's quite a huge number of decorations. Computers. Also, you may notice that the items are actually fairly, most of them, are quite close to the walls, so that means that you shouldn't have the same issues that we have in Fallout 76, where sometimes you can't place things closer. I see some safes there. So here is a better example of what we can do. So you'll notice that, so this is cool. It reminds me of, it's very Subnautica. Everything is on foundations, which is going to give me extremely mixed feelings, because I'm not the biggest fan of foundations. However, these foundations look fairly good, and considering this is in space, it makes sense. I am curious a couple of things. How many flat foundations do we have? So you see, that is what looks like a landing pad foundation, but is that the only foundation we have, or can I make like a flat area and then build on it? Are there actually individual separate walls? There's loads of little questions I have, and it's very curious. If you look, there is nothing. No signs, no decorations on the exterior of these buildings. Now, something to bear in mind, when Fallout 4 first dropped, it had the most bare bones vanilla building ever. So I'm not too pressed. And also because modding should drop hopefully within a few months afterwards, hopefully before the end of the year, myself and other modding developers will hopefully, mod developers will be able to kind of fill the void and then kind of work with the existing assets that we slowly get added to the game and kind of add you cool stuff. My idea already is hopefully if I can make pre-built outposts that you can just place down. I love this little guy. I love this little guy so much. Pre-built outposts that you can place down yourself. And I would like the idea if I can assuming that we do have the same modding capability we have in Fallout 4, we should be able to do variants of these. So my idea would be have a separate menu of my stuff, and then I can do a different version of all of these with actual details from the game attached to the outside. So for example, my idea would be a slightly more pirate one where this just looks really ramshackle. Still functions in the exact same way, but is a lot more ramshackle. Same way you could, I guess change the colors, for example, in a very simple way. I'm probably not going to be too advanced, but I know other mod devs will be. I do like checking. You can see I'm looking for any floating things. They seem to be quite big on not having floating items. You see, nothing's really... Everything actually is on a foundation. One thing in my pet hate is as long as the foundations can go down, I'll be happy. That's an interesting little structure at the back, actually. It looks like a greenhouse, potentially. Wind generators... those are definitely solar panels, and I've got all of these crates here. I'm wondering if those things you place down yourself, or that is an indicator potentially of how much cargo you have stored up. Right, this did bother me a little bit. That's the same plant. That is literally the same plant over and over again. I do hope that it's literally going in the exact same angle. My criticism straight off the bat to the developers who made this little display is you should have at least rotated these plants a little bit so they didn't look the same. This part especially, I can just tell straight away. I do like the various biomes quite a lot, and there are quite a lot of decorations. So in terms of decorative, this looks really cool, and also the kind of, there we go, and this is the crafting. So that is the end of the building section. Actually, one thing we can address, the research lab. So there is an outpost development section as well, so there might be more bits we can unlock. So let me just get you to an actually cool section of this so we can kind of admire it while we... Not that bit's shit. So we'll get it to when it gets to the panoramic again. So I love those little robots. So overall, I'm quite pleased with the options available, and I think this is very much on a far more developed state than... There we go, this is how it looks in a bit more panoramic. On a far more developed state than the building in Fallout 4 was on launch. I'm really, really curious if I go back here again. So I'm really curious what these various tabs include. Obviously there'll be decorations, power. I don't know if there's water, it doesn't look like it, but I'm curious to what extent. Not only that, but defenses as well. Are we going to have to defend from attacks? They were very, very tight-lipped, I thought, about the outpost buildings element, considering how hugely popular it is in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 in terms of the actual longevity of the game. That might be a major alarm bells, or that might be the fact that they just want to make it its own kind of major showcase. So I'm curious. Overall, quite excited. Honestly, as long as we have decent or at least equivalent mod support, similar to Fallout 4, I will be completely happy, because when Fallout 4 dropped, I was on PlayStation 4. I didn't have any modding skill at all. I have okay-ish modding skill now. I will have to relearn a few things. And therefore, any holes, any gaps, any things I feel are missing, I can kind of make myself. I've got ideas, so it should be quite fun. But it will depend on, how Outpost building ends up on release, and also how the actual modding support is on release and how it develops. I would almost bet money there will be quite a lot of DLC relating to Outpost building. It just seems kind of inevitable, because that's exactly what happened in Fallout 4, and also how they've made most of their money on Fallout 76. Anyway, bit of a lazy in terms of editing video, but I did want to have a nice ramble about this. I am so excited for Starfield. It's, I think, potentially going to be one of the best games of the decade. Certainly, I'm probably going to be getting it on Xbox S, but I'll probably get it on PC as well, so I can kind of alternate between. Let me know what you guys are excited for. Probably all the things I am and more. Stealing sandwiches, making really weird guns. I really like the character creator. Loads, so cool. Anyway, I love you all. Hope this gave you a few ideas. If you spotted anything that I've missed, please let me know in the comments, because I'm trying to collect as much data as I can, so I can make an inferred decision on what we can expect to see. Anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. You take care.